And let's see about getting this to live stream to Facebook. That's what we want. People are used to me talking as I walk myself through this. We have one time where it just didn't I missed hitting a button and it wasn't sharing the way it needed to. So, oh, it looks like Debbie is in the waiting room. Hang on a second here. This might be a good thing. Let me hit go live. Admit, maybe she got back in time. All right. So let me come back on here. All right. Well, welcome everyone to Laugh Lines and Turbulence.
Oh, you guys did good?
Who's that? Did you turn into a man, Debbie?
No, what does it show? What does the picture show?
What's that?
What does the picture look like that you can see?
I don't see any picture. I just hear you and a man.
Oh. You know what? I'm just gonna maybe try to just listen in and hang out for a little bit as long as I can, and then if I can ask ask questions, I'm just gonna not put the video on. But I just wanted to say hello to our guests, and I apologize that I couldn't get the video on.
It's
No
nice
worries.
to meet you.
No worries. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna go ahead.
I got it streaming to Facebook, so I'm going to double check that's working.
Okay,
And
cool.
yeah, and then I'm going to introduce Vanessa, and yeah, and then we're going to fly. We are going live. So very good. We're good. All right. So welcome, Vanessa Wright. We are so excited to have you here, and we've been excited all week. And I just have to find your bio. Here we go. I got it. I need two screens. I'm operating with one. But anyway, so Vanessa Wright is here. She's a writer and a certified life coach and a lifelong storyteller who loves helping midlife women rediscover their spark. After 25 years in communications, she now combines her word crafting skills with her passion for supporting women throughout life transitions. Through her Flourish and Flow newsletter and coaching practice, Vanessa shares practical wisdom on creativity, self-care, and embracing life's messy magic. When she's not connecting with her community, you'll find her enjoying dark chocolate, yes, getting lost in a good book, or creating space for joy in her Raleigh, North Carolina home, which is now getting hit by a thunderstorm, she told me.
Yes.
So welcome, Vanessa.
Nice to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know in your form that you sent us that you had said you started kind of this aha transition moment a little bit before 50. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I just turned 50 in January, so I'm new to the club, but I said this year it's going to be my entire personality, and everybody's already tired of me saying I'm 50. It has been a whole thing, but so I'll back up to it was 2020, and I was working from home for a really great company, but I was also homeschooling my three kids. I've been homeschooling them since 2010. Just wrapped up 14 and a half, almost 15 years of that. I can chat about that journey later, but I was doing that and had been in the perimenopause, like knew I was in perimenopause starting at like age 43. I was fortunate to have a very like ahead of the curve practitioner and health coach who I kind of knew this by the time I was 40. So this wasn't all news to me. So I was kind of dealing with that. But then I was 45, it was 2020. And I just said like, I need to do something now. I don't want to wait for my kids to be 18, 19. I don't want them, I want to start planting some seeds for myself now. And so I was like, well, I think I'll become a life coach. So I signed up for coaching based on my coach at the time. She kept saying for like 6, 8 months, she's like, you're a coach, right? You're doing this. And I was like, okay. And so I signed up. And then on New Year's Day in 2021, I said, oh, I think I want to get published this year. and wrote that down by the end of the year, was published in a collection of work. And now this was all felt very new and strange because I had dedicated, most all of my time and energy to my kiddos at that point. So there was just this like shift of I didn't want to wait. And so I started putting things slowly in place that have kind of, it seems like it came out of nowhere, but if I look back even further to when I was a child or a teen or whatever, that it's probably been in there all along and it just needed space to grow.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. Just like this whole like transition and that recognizing that yes, you're a mom and yes, you love to give to your family and your kids, but that you're important too.
Yes. And I think because I was constantly talking about it, I would say back when Instagram, when you could just like post a picture, like write some stuff. Instagram for me, when I first started on there 10 years ago, was like my microblog. Like I didn't have a website. I didn't have anything. It was just there. And initially I was started, I talked about like my homeschooling journey. And then that kind of morphed into what I was dealing with as a mom in perimenopause, then a mom with three kids who were in the, which I call hashtag the puberties at one time. And it was like, and then that kind of went into, I started blogging for like a really, really popular homeschool blog. And so I got to sort of, I wanted to come at it was like, hey, guess what? Like, as a homeschool mom, because typically that's what I was speaking to. Like, you have to take care of yourself, and then I created my own self care method for myself and just started sharing about it. And then that's when all these other things started snowballing and happening. And then I did a little midlife pivot back in June or July, and just I'm just going with the flow. Flow is the name of my self care, but I'm doing it for myself. I live and walk what I like to talk about because I don't know of any other way to do that. So that's been the last 5 years. It's been a little unexpected and fun and ups and downs, but overall pretty cool.
That's so amazing. Well, and the thing is I've found, and I was just doing some research on this, but it's just amazing how through our journey and reaching, I call it the bucket list or your goals and dreams, the things that like that burning desire in your heart that you really feel like you need to accomplish. Just by doing that, we have this amazing ability to have a positive influence on others who want
Mm,
to do the same thing.
yeah, no, I think that is just so spot on, and because I I'm Gen X, a proud Gen X, and it's like we didn't necessarily have that. Like we didn't maybe necessarily see our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers like doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I always thought of like over 50 for me was like always the Golden Girls, which I've got Golden Girls paraphernalia all over my office. So like it just felt like different, and but a lot of us are, if you're a parent, maybe like I didn't have my kids till I was 30. So like I wasn't like my mom who had me when she was 22 and was all done having kids by the time she was 28. Like that was just not my life. I was slightly older and had to be juggling their health, my like health stuff, homeschooling, working from home, all this other stuff. But then there was this always thing like, well, what about all the things that I have kind of pushed down and pushed aside? And the more I spoke with other moms, other women about it, I realized, oh, we're all doing this. We're all going through this. We're just not
Yeah.
talking about it enough.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you're right. I think as my mom, it was, I mean, she was a full-time, she worked full-time, but she didn't talk about the menopause thing. And really, it was one of these things when I started breaking free and doing some of my things, she was a little taken aback by it, when I wanted to travel to Europe. You're leaving your kids to go. It's like I'm not leaving them forever.
Just taking a break.
That's right. I'm taking a break. There's Debbie.
I'm going to try to tune in as long as I can, and just listening right now. So I'm listening to your wonderful story. So, but hi guys,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah. So, but I think that's wonderful that you really you recognize those things that you really wanted to accomplish and you started doing that. And so so when you turned 50, was that the day that you launched your Substack?
It was. I promised myself I like to do this. I'm really big into accountability. Like I think that's part of the reason I became a coach. But I've had a coach since 2008 in some fashion, like health coach or whatever. And I need accountability because I just need it. And so I told myself I've been hemming and hawing about Substack. I was like, I'm gonna do it on my birthday, like on my 50th birthday, even if I just have the bare bones. Like that was my gift to myself. So it was like I think at 1:30 or 2 a.m. My birthday's January 8th. So it was like that morning, like the clock struck midnight, became January, and of course I had like menopausal insomnia, and I was like, whatever. Like then, and I launched it, and then I went to sleep. I felt better. It was just like a challenge. I was like, I'm not live. That's my birthday gift to myself. And it's been fun because I knew literally nothing about Zach. I just felt like, well, let's just give this a try. And
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and the technology too.
yeah, yeah. I luckily because of the other role I was in, I just left a contract with a company I was with for 7.5 years, but I learned a ton of stuff for like this old lady here. Like I learned a ton of stuff and not to be afraid of the technology.
Yes.
So I was like, well, I already knew how to help. I created stuff on my website. I'm like, well, this can't be that much different. And I had a wonderful,
Yeah.
amazing coach. Shout out to Claire Venus from Sparkle on Substack. She is an amazing Substack coach and mentor and space holder. So, and it's just been fun. And it's just, again, it was just another place for me because I love to write and I wasn't finding that I could write on other platforms. I was like, well, let me try this. And it's been the connections just in the last 6 or 8 months have been amazing there. Yeah.
Vanessa, you're saying about the technology. I think in this for us Gen Xers, that is a challenge for us. I feel like before we turned 50, we were a little bit more tech savvy. And as technology started to advance, our brains are trying to quickly catch up. So, what is some of the advice that you have? Because I believe that there's so many of us out here, us women at over 50, who want to get involved in so much more. But I think the technology, as Gina knows, sometimes like a barrier we have. So,
Yeah.
that's some of the stuff that we feel that may be holding us back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think for me it was number one, I always find somebody who knows how to do it and either ask them for guidance, ask them for help. So with Substack, Claire and I connected because she and I are both being published in an anthology later this fall. So like I connected with her probably 6 or 8 months before I even started Substack and just started following her. And I was like, oh, this is cool. We're both being published in this motherhood creativity thing. And then I just kind of watched it. And then when I saw she had like this program, I was like, well, let me just try it because I already knew how to do my Squarespace site mostly just from Googling stuff and whatever. But just asking for help and really the contract role that I was in, like I had to learn Slack, I had to learn ClickUp, I had to learn Notion, I had to learn these things like on the fly. So I I just had to challenge myself in that space because I was forced to because I had to do it for my job. So I think once you like figure, but I don't know how to turn our TV on to be truthful. Like I honestly don't know how to turn our TV on.
That's hard for everybody.
Which is why I just watch apps on my phone because like honestly, if I'm going to watch TV, like I don't want anybody. I just want to do it.
My husband handed me the remote control once, and I'm like, "What do you want me to do with this?" I have no idea. No idea.
No.
I know, and no, thank you.
Yeah. So it's like I think like don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid like to ask somebody who's younger because they will help you. Like for me, I have 3 teens where my oldest just turned 20. I'm constantly like, hey, y'all come in here and help me out. And I don't, yes, I'm an old lady. I get it, but just be quiet and like help me fix this. And so I've asked my daughter for help on Canva, for Pinterest, for my other sons for help. So I think it's just like if you know you want to do something, don't let the technology be the barrier because it's very easy to do that. Because I think about like in 1986 when my dad brought home our first computer and we were all like, what is happening? What is going on? And I still laugh about my speak and spell. Like my speak and spell was my favorite toy growing up. So I think like don't be afraid of it and ask for help. I know we're Gen X, we don't like to ask for help, but ask for help. Especially if it's something you really, really want to do, don't let the technology be the barrier to what you want to do.
Right.
That's great advice.
I think too, when you start using it more frequently, it starts coming to you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
learn from our mistakes. Like I said, with the whole like
Yeah.
trying to get it to stream to Facebook, I learned from that like, which buttons to hit and which one not to hit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that they change it every time you log in. I
That's
just
very
expect
true.
that something is going to be different. Like every time I log into Instagram, I'm like I was off of it for a week, and then I went back on. I was like, why are all the buttons? Or it just seemed like everything was different. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't share a story, and I was
It's
like, yeah,
crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
yeah.
What would you so you mentioned that the book that you found like really inspirational and helpful to you was called The Menopause Brain by Dr.
Oh,
Lisa Mascani. So
yes.
tell us a little bit about
Mm.
that book.
Yeah, so I white knuckled my way through menopause 2 summers ago. I just crossed the 2 year mark. And I was young, I was 48, which I think is on the younger end, but I had started my cycle. I talk about it all the time. I'm open like when I was not even quite 11, like 10 and a half, 11. So I was young. So I was definitely ready to be done. I was 48, but I was not like it was hard. It was really, 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 really hard. I'm very well, like I'm well read. I said I knew about perimenopause when I was like in my late 30s and 40s. So by the time I hit it, like I knew I had hit it at 43 when I started like skipping cycles and tracking my mood. I was just very into it, and I had a great coach. And but I was not prepared for the absolute just it felt like a meltdown, to be honest. I wasn't taking any HRT at the time. I'm like, I'm gonna go through this like a queen,
Mhm.
you know, and whatever. And also my body's just like super sensitive to stuff. But I gotta tell you, it was hard as hell, and
Yeah.
it was not fun. And so I came across Dr. Lisa. I can't remember, probably on Instagram. And I
Mhm.
had already read a bunch of menopause books, and they just for me just never landed. But when I read her book, and she was talking about like the brain, and
Yeah.
just in a way that just was like, oh, it made me feel not so like crazy, because I literally did not feel like I don't even know how I got through work that summer. I was working 2 different contractor jobs. My oldest son graduated. He was my first to graduate
Yeah.
our homeschool. There was a lot going on, and her book was like I just kept going back to it. I could just read like in little chunks, and I just liked the way she explained what was happening in a way that didn't make you feel like you had to be on 6 different diets and this and that. It was just
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just something about it. And it's probably one of 2 books that I always recommend. I very careful with the books and stuff that I recommend to people,
Mhm.
and that's one of them. The other one is Hormone Intelligence by Dr. Aviva Ram. Those are the only 2 for me that I'm like I go back to over and over again for me or sharing with a friend or a client. Yeah, she's really great in the work she's doing. She's just phenomenal. If you don't know anything about her, and the one thing she said when I heard her in an interview was she said if you had postpartum depression, the likelihood of you having depression and menopause. I forget what number. I don't remember the statistic, but I'm like, oh,
Oh,
this
Wow.
makes sense now because I had very,
Yes.
very bad postpartum depression, especially when my
Yes.
twins were born. I had a son, and then 22 months later, we had twins. And if I would have known that information, I feel like I
Mhm.
could have better prepared myself. And that
Yeah.
just, I just remember just like feeling like, oh, I did not know that. And so I just think it's important to know what is actually going on in your body and your
Yeah.
brain from a physiological standpoint.
What
mhm.
a phenomenal revelation, what you just said, as far as that postpartum depression and having menopause, you're more likely to. Like, I really like seeing all the research going out there with menopause and women, and more attention, more awareness, because instead of just being written off that we're being intolerable to it. So this is a lot of validation for us, which is
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah. And I think, and it's for me because also at the same time as I was like, I felt like everything was unraveling. I also started seeing what I've called the commodification of menopause, which I also like, no, like don't try to sell 7,000 supplements. We don't all have to have the six pack abs. Like I just saw, a Star magazine. It's like Jen Aniston, best body yet at 56. And I'm like, I love her, but also like, I ain't trying to have a six, like, first of all, it's never going to happen, but like, I feel like we have to be really careful with what we're now envisioning what you should look like. You should have your best body ever at 45, 50, 60. I don't know, like there's just like a delicate balance for me. And I feel like because there's so much money to be made in the menopause space, and we're Gen X or elder millennials, maybe we have more disposable income. We're very aware, like I try to be very careful treading about that. And for me, it's like, I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm glad there's more information. I think we have to be careful with what we're consuming, like everywhere, consuming mentally, spiritually, physically, everything, because not everybody, your body's completely different from anybody else's. So that's just something I've kind of keeping my finger on the pulse of.
Yeah. Well, and I really feel like that goes to even growing up as young girls, right? It's the teen magazines, it's the Cosmopolitan that shows us what the right way to look is. And I feel like that's carried through our entire lives as women. And now with menopause, now they're like, look you can look like this and be in menopause. And
Right.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, Vanessa, on that, because I think that it can really impact our self-esteem, and we need to be okay with who we are in our own skin. And I mean, the stuff that you're doing is amazing, and the other women that we interview, and that's the important stuff there, right? The important things that we're doing for our world and for our lives and our families. And I don't know, I just think that false sense of hope that you can look like Jennifer Aniston or you can look like this person or that person. I mean, they have access to things that some of us don't.
Well, let's also be like super realistic about that, right? Like I always tell the story of like when I had twins in 2007, and I think J Lo had twins then, and maybe there was another, and I would just be like, oh, look at them, they've just had twins, and I'm like, meanwhile I'm over here like it looks like I still have twins in my stomach, and I have a 2-year-old who's like smacking the babies, and I'm crying this, and it's like, no, I don't, that's not real. Like she probably has a nanny and a chef and a tummy tuck and this, and it's like, but I think you're right. Like we grew up in the 80s and 90s with like, let's look, low fat this and no fat that, and look, I mean, all the grunge phase, like that stuff. And so I don't think we're immune to it. And I think it's like, okay, but now we're the ones that have the money to spend, and we have all this information coming at us. How do we protect that? And and to be like completely transparent, like I did seek, we're very fortunate, I have a menopause practitioner right here in my town, like in my tiny little town in North Carolina. And she's like, what are you afraid of to start, like with HRT? And we talked about it, and I started it, and it hasn't like cured it's not a cure all for everything, but I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way. I always say like being on HRT helps me prevent me from being on a Dateline episode and not as the victim. So like, I'm a Dateline
Absolutely.
fan. So, like,
and it's okay to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, just I know with laugh lines, it's a little bit of humor. I have a little. Sometimes I get dark humor. So like, that's like the difference in like once I was on it for like a week or 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, I don't feel like. I mean, I feel like I can get out of bed and move. And not be sore. And so again, it's very, very, very individualistic. I'm glad I listened to my voice, and I was like, you've got to get some help. Like. You can't keep doing what you're doing. It's not working. You haven't worked for 2 years. Like you need to keep going and do something different.
I think it's okay to say, because right now we're very cautious when we talk about HRTs, because it's still, it's revolutionary right now, very revolutionary for us Gen Xers, and people still kind of hold back. Well, make sure you talk to your physician. It's not the cure all, but it's okay to say, yes, it did help me get through a really rough time, because with other medications, people say, this XYZ helped me get through a really rough time. Well, yes, estrogen helped me get through a really rough time, because I remember thinking, I don't think I could live the rest of my life like this.
Yes.
And I just, and I like, I had to do something and was grateful for the awareness that's out there and started asking questions. And, and it's okay to say, yeah, I'm taking it for me and it's working for me. And that's okay.
Right. No, I completely agree. And I've been really fortunate. We in our local Raleigh area, we are launching um, a group. Well, we have a Facebook group already, but we're launching a community where we're bringing together local providers and resources for perimenopause and menopause to the people who need them. And it's my friend's business that she's got another business that's similar, and so she's launching this as an arm of it. And she's brought me on to come on and help with the community building and the strategy and stuff. And I am so thankful because it is such a dear topic to me, because it's like, if we have to want to go out and change the world, like, we have to feel good, we have
Mhm.
to be clear, we have to be taking care of ourselves if we want to go and do all the big things that this world is requiring and needing the change. So yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Has there in your life, I know we mentioned like my mom, she never talked about menopause. I would watch her sweat and I always wondered what was wrong with her.
Yeah.
But did you ever have a female person that talked to you about menopause or gave you any
Mm,
indication of it's not
not
just hot sweats?
no, well, no, I mean, I'm very close to my mom, but we never really had like, I laugh. We did, we had the like period talk and that stuff, but we
Yeah.
didn't really have like the menopause talk. Now, granted, without sharing her personal information, her experience was vastly different from mine.
Mhm.
But once I started sharing more about what I was going through, because I was very closed about it, I didn't tell her anything, but she kind of suspected like something was off because of just my how I was behaving or not behaving or whatever. And then she opened up once I opened up. But no, so like with my mom, I didn't, but I have been like, my friends are like, I was the friend that was like talking about it all the time, and but
Yeah,
I was the
good.
only one, like, they were still either a little bit younger or hadn't gone through it yet. But I just think like we have to talk about it. Now it's like talking about it everywhere. But
But that's good. It's educating people.
yeah, yeah,
It's bringing things to light.
definitely.
So, yeah. Hi, Debbie.
I think, hey, I know, I think I just heard what you were saying, and I think we kind of turned this Gen X generation also turned into those little, menopause, warriors.
Yes, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
A little bit of, what I was telling someone the other day, because I talk about it so much. I know, and I get annoying. I talk about it to my younger, cousins and family that are about, in their 40s and whatnot. And they're, no, at least the information's out there for you. I kind of feel like, the person, let me tell it, like, live like a religion. I'm like, let me tell you about estrogen, our savior.
Yeah, you
No,
got
no,
to tell
no,
people.
no, don't close the door. Let me tell you.
I'm not done yet.
But yeah, no, you do got to tell people. You got to make. I mean, I think it's fair, only fair to give out information and options. It's only fair.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because you don't want, like, for me, I'm like, I want my friends, my clients, or these people that are in my new community, like, I want people to feel good. Like, we
Yes.
don't have to keep like suffering in silence. And I
Yeah.
just think that, at least from what we've seen in our community, it's that people don't know where to find the resources. We hosted
Yeah.
a movie event of the M Factor, the menopause documentary,
Oh,
back
yay.
March. We had like 60 people show up. We were like, I'm not even going to come to this because everybody waited to like the last minute to buy
Yeah.
tickets. And my friend and I, who were, we just launched this. And when when the movie was over, we asked like, hey, who here is a resource, like, or a practitioner, and only like a few hands went up. Who here is looking for a resource? And every hand shot up, but they did not know where to find them. So we were like, and this is just in like our Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area. So we thought, well, let's start locally. Like, and I will tell anybody this, no matter sort of like what your project is, like, start in your local community. Where can you find that thing to make a difference? Because there are people that, like, looking out your window or drive, like, they need the resources. And we actually have, we're very fortunate. We have a ton, but just nobody knows how to find each other. So that's like,
you're right.
Yeah. Or they're like, well, I'll just go follow the person on Instagram with 3 million followers. Okay, well, that's great, but you need to go find someone in your community who you can go and actually get help from and see. And so that's what we're trying to do in our group, and with this new model of trying to like get people, because again, like, I don't want people to have to like white knuckle through things like I did. That was really, really awful. And I had access to certain things, but like, I just wasn't, I needed someone to help me put the pieces together, because I'm like, well, I'm also still homeschooling, I'm working 2 jobs, and that, like, I just need someone to give me the list of what to do, because the decision fatigue was overwhelming. And I just want to feel better. I just want to be able to like get up and move and not cry like 5 hours a day, and not feel so sore and achy and not in my body. I just felt like I wasn't I felt like a stranger in my own body. Yeah.
Very good way to point out.
I love that you're doing that in your community. That's that suffering silently, and the not feeling like you're connected with anybody in this misery that you're having, right? I think that's wonderful that you're doing that to open that door for others who are going through that, and really, like, the talks, having them earlier than later, it
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So bravo. That's all I
It's
got.
going to be fun. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun. And to also, like, I told my friend when we were talking about some things the other day, I was like, I also like celebrate stuff. Like, it's not all doom and gloom. Like,
No.
there's a lot of good things that happen. Like, when you go through menopause, when you cross that bridge, as I say, and like, can we celebrate that? Like, let's, like, yes, it's hard. Yes, you feel like, but there's also a lot of really, really cool and good things. And like, let's also celebrate that and talk about that as part of this whole journey.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Love that. What advice would you give to your younger self or to somebody younger?
Oh, I actually, that's so funny you asked me. I just wrote a Substack piece 2 weeks ago called 20 Things I Would Tell My 20-year-old Self. And it was, I don't know, it just came to me when I was journaling one morning. And I think like the ones that stand out to me, it was funny, it was like, not everyone's going to like you, and you're not going to like everyone, because like, recovering people pleaser here. My very first one was like, your music tastes will probably won't change much, and that is still accurate. um, don't feel like you have to follow all the rules. Like, it's okay to like do things that are like feel frivolous and feel like out of character. Like, don't just be, I'm a Capricorn also, and I'm the oldest daughter, or I'm the oldest child and the oldest daughter, so I have a lot stacked against me in that department in terms of like,
This daughter really relate to that.
yeah, I'm like the oldest granddaughter, oldest daughter, oldest granddaughter, all the things, plus a Capricorn on top of it all, and an Enneagram too. So it was like, my whole life has been very about like, what am I doing for other people? How can I be for other people and not for myself? And I have to tell you, I published that, and my mom is so sweet. She called me last week, and she's like, there was stuff on there I didn't know about you, and she goes, I took some notes, and I'd like to ask you more about them. I thought it was really sweet and cute, because there was just things. Obviously, I'm 20. I was in college. I wasn't living at home, and I think I picked 20. 20 for me was more transformative than 21 for a variety of reasons. And also, my oldest, just turned 20, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm 20. How are you? How do I have a 20-year-old? So, yeah, I think I'm so different, but there's just so much of me that's still the same. And I think it's really important to be gentle with all the versions of yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh, such a great message. I know somebody put on a Facebook post, what would you tell your old or your younger self? And I don't know what I wrote, but I wrote it in there, be bold, be brave, blah, 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 the poetic
Mhm.
stuff. And then I'm like, in quotes, I don't know if I would have listened to me.
There's that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
That's
That's so true.
It's too funny. I think I would say, talking about that would be just to love yourself, but take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, because you're going to have your whole life taking care of other people, but make sure you take real good care of yourself.
Isn't that the truth? And you just don't know it when you're 20. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, or whatever. And it's just so, yeah, it's so different. Mm.
Absolutely. Well, and a lot of that stuff that we carry into, again, that body image thing, I think we're forced that's forced on us as young girls and in our teens, into our 20s, our whole lives. So, yeah, that loving yourself, I think a lot of folks have to learn that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And that just to be, I just wrapped up 4 month uh, sessions with my health coach who I've had since 2020. And she has gone through every iteration with me of like all the body stuff. Right. And it's like, and I finally came to the thing. I'm like, I'm 50, I'm 100% Italian, I'm 5'2". Like I'm not gonna not eat pasta. I'm not gonna not eat chocolate, but I'm gonna, guess what? I'm lifting a lot more heavier weights now, and I'm able to walk and jog a lot more than I
Amazing.
was. Like doing
Yeah.
those things, but also I'm gonna.
Mhm.
I just came home, like I was with my family for 2 days, my extended family, and I was like, I'm gonna eat the cupcakes, and I'm having like,
Yep.
we went out for tacos, and I had a margarita, like, and that's like okay,
Gotta
like
have the margarita.
I hadn't had one in like 8 months, so I was like, I'm
Yes.
having one, and it was and it was good, and
Yes. Yes. Yes.
just to enjoy because like
Yeah.
life is short.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. I can't thank you enough for being on our episode and
Mhm.
sharing your words of wisdom. And I good luck with your anthology. When is that?
I think it's coming out. I think it's supposed to come out this fall sometime. It's a creativity and motherhood anthology that I have a poem coming out in it. So it's just so it was such a cool project that this other creative mother put together from writers and artists from I think all over the world. So um, it's just been like it's just been fun. I'm just excited for that, just to be a tiny little part of it. But that's my biggest encouragement. I just keep telling my friends, like, I don't care what, for me, creativity and joy are big things. Like, your cooking is creativity. How you move your body is creativity. How you address an envelope, like playing with stickers, like just have that every day and have those daily joys every day. We are living in a, banana pants time of everything. So like find those little daily joys,
Yeah,
and hold on to them and share them and write them down, because I always say little daily joys beget more joy, and then you start finding them and they start finding you.
love that. I love that. Where can people find you to follow your writings and your news on your upcoming anthology? Where's the best place for folks to find
Yeah, I'm only really in two places, on Instagram at Vanessa and Wright. And I've just right now just to share some stories. I have a ton of posts on there you can scroll through. And then my Substack is really where I show up every week and I'm writing, and that's Flourish and Flow. It's under Vanessa and Wright, I believe. So, and then there's a link from I link everything from everywhere, or at least I try to remember to. So that's my precious place. I send out a weekly writings and poetry and musings, and I love writing over there and just encouraging others to share, to get into their creativity and joy at this age and stage.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, and we'll share those for all the viewers. We'll share Vanessa's link
Yes. Yes.
so that way you can check her out. Like she's got some great stuff out there, and as you can tell, great words of wisdom and trying to change our world one word at a time.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for having me on. This was so fun to chat with both of you. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Vanessa, thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.